Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to discuss in this is going to be a two-part series too. We're going to talk about cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome. So give you definitions from Google. I don't prefer these. I actually prefer the Oxford English Dictionary definitions. The state of having, this is the definition for cognitive dissonance. The state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. The part of that definition that is supposed to stand out is having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes. And I'm going to read Stockholm syndrome. The definition for it is feelings of trust or affection felt in certain cases of kidnapping or hostage taking by a victim toward a captor. What Stockholm syndrome is basically saying is you have an affection for a person who has done a wrong towards you as far as kidnapping. Now, as far as us as Africans, and I'm going to address Africans, those of African descent, in this video. As much as the Hebrew Israelites don't want to agree that they are Africans, if you choose to watch this video, it's like you're being included as an African. I'm only addressing those of African descent. According to our elders, our black scholars who make these claims as us being descendants of Africa, the reason for our name African Americans, that name that was given to us, we were stolen, kidnapped from Africa. When it comes to debating our skin counterparts, our skin color counterparts, coons, toms, sellouts. The reason we give them these names is because they are the ones who suffer from this Stockholm syndrome. They make excuses or try to rationalize the condition of black people in this country. And they say to make extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence. So if you are to say that there are good white people, that is your claim. First, you have to tell me what good means to you. A good white person to me is that white person who is going to allow or grant black persons a lot, not a lot as in a bunch, but a lot as in a piece of land or a section, not a piece but a section or acres of land. Not only will they grant us that land, but the right to be who we want to be. The right to be who we want to be, what we want to be, and to establish our own type of government, and given respect as that government. Until then, every white person is questionable. Every white person is suspect. Every white person, no matter whether they grew up in the hood or not, with us, childhood friends with us, they are still questionable people. How do I know that you're not an agent for the system? And not only that, not only could you be an agent of the system, but our own blacks who have been brainwashed, not brainwashed, but mind taken control of, those persons could be agents of the system, or they better yet, they are agents of the system, because it's just like in the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. Any person who is still plugged in has a possibility to become an agent. Okay, you can be used by the system if you are still plugged in. This is why The Matrix is a very important movie to watch. A lot of people like the movie, but a lot of people don't respect it for the meaning that it has. Because when they think about the first Matrix, they think about every single last one of the movies, and they try to judge one movie off of all of the movies. It's just that one movie itself. All of them had meaning to it, but that first movie was the movie that said you are all living in a simulation. Now, I have a brother who sends me links and websites concerning simulation, like the actual universe itself, or the planet Earth that we're on is a simulation. And I'm going to get off into those videos maybe within the year or so. But that itself is a broader example of the more acute example, or situation that our people deal with. But just looking at something right quick. But for the most part, the focus of this video is mainly on Stockholm Syndrome. The next video I'm going to do is going to be on cognitive dissonance. And then it's going to be a 3-part. I'm going to do one for Stockholm Syndrome, and then I'm going to do one for cognitive dissonance, and then I'm going to put them together and explain the reason for why blacks do the things that they do. And it's not a rationalized it's not a rationalized reason. This is actually this is using Caucasian science for our position, for our present position in this country. And I believe that's everything that I had to speak on as far as Stockholm Syndrome. That you have blacks who, and these are only coons, toms, sellouts. Coons, toms, and sellouts. Those who are conscious, those who are awake, those who have been unplugged from the system. That we are the ones who are trying to go in and unplug. And the way that we're going in and unplugging is by trying to give those persons who seem qualified to be unplugged, giving those people the truth. And a lot of those people who seem qualified really aren't qualified. And also with that Caucasian science is another syndrome called drapetomania. And drapetomania is when a person they called it a mental illness. They called it a mental illness, and this mental illness consisted of black people who tried to run away from slavery. They said that those people who were mentally ill, or those people who were trying to get away from slavery, were mentally ill. Think about that. And it's the same thing that goes on today. Matter of fact, those of us who are conscious suffer from drapetomania. This is a mental illness that I will accept. This is a mental illness that many people should have. Drapetomania, escaping slavery. There are many that the way that this country is built, we're still in slavery. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. We're in slavery in this country till this day. But the slavery is more covert. And it's really out in the open to those of us who are conscious. It's just like the only movie that I can think of right now is The Shack, because it's the most recent movie that I've seen with this example the example that I want to use is what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name, but he was with God and he was looking out in an open plain and he couldn't see anything, and the Holy Spirit told him to he was standing with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit gave him eyes to see as they were seeing. And when he was looking out at this open field, it just wasn't an open field, it was a field filled with people once he had his real eyes. So that is how we as conscious people view the system. And whenever or slavery itself, when we are debating with people and those people say, where's the slavery, where's the racism, we really don't want to go that far with them, because they know it's there, but they try to rationalize it away. They try to sweep it under the rug, as though what we're saying is nonsense. But if you ask any other white person who is actually feeling the effects of this system, they will say that it feels like slavery to them. Are these good white people? I don't know. But just because you're suffering the way that I'm suffering doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you are a good person. Everybody's suffering. The crackheads are suffering. Thieves are suffering. Rapists are suffering. The richest people in the world are suffering. Just because these people are suffering doesn't mean that they're good people. Matter of fact, people do evil shit and wonder why karma comes back tenfold on them. But this is Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome is the person who makes excuses for their master, for their oppressor. That's what Stockholm Syndrome is. A person who makes excuses for their oppressor. The person who doesn't make excuses for their master or for their oppressor is the person who suffers from drapetomania. And what is drapetomania? Drapetomania is a mental illness that consists of a person running away from slavery.